Have you ever wondered if God is involved in human medicine? The answer is yes. There is a beautiful relationship between God and the doctor in medicine. Now, this relationship is a beautiful collaboration, a synergy that shows the interjection of faith and science. So, where science stops is where faith continues. This beautiful relationship shows us that what man is doing today is actually gotten from God. Now, let me prove that point. Let's go back to the father of modern medicine, Hippocrates. During his time, Hippocrates gave accolades to God for his discoveries in medicine. The same thing with Galen, another founding father of modern medicine. Now, look at the Hippocratic Oath. This oath is the oath that medical students swear to at the end of their medical training. The last line of that oath states, I swear to the Almighty God. So these sentences prove that there is a relationship between God, who is the source of all knowledge, and man, the doctor, in application. Now, let us go further. The rod of Asclepius, that's the symbol that medical systems are using today. The staff with the two snakes, the staff representing direction and guidance, and the snakes representing healing. Now, this staff or this symbol was gotten from Asclepius, a Greek demigod who was responsible for healing, which still shows the presence of godship in this particular relationship. So, what man is doing today, man got it from God. Now, another point to look at is looking at the human body. See how complex the human body is. The complexity of the human body shows that there must be a higher knowledge, there must be a source of higher intelligence to create such a masterpiece as the human body. Now, let's take a dive into the roles. Now, what is the role of the doctors in medicine? The role is simple. The role is to simply make use of medical knowledge in application for the treatment of the patient. Now, how do you think doctors make use of this knowledge? They make use of this knowledge in diagnosis. That's where they try to find out the cure and try to find out the cause of a particular problem. What could have led to this problem? So that's the diagnosis. Then the second one is the treatment plan, where they offer, maybe they give drugs or surgery or therapies, or depending on the particular problem. Now the third one is the management plan or the care plan, which is after the treatment. Now, that is the role of doctors. Now, what about God? Now, when it comes to medicine, we need to understand that the role of God is not overemphasized. The role of God is one in divine healing. That's where miracles come in. For example, a patient is said to be clinically blind, but the next week this patient is seen. So this patient has gone out from science, he's now into faith. This patient has been healed by a form of divine power. So divine healing is still present in modern day medicine. Most top doctors, most scientists, neurosurgeons, they've they've testified to the presence of a divine healer, always helping out in one way or the other. Now, apart from divine healing, we can see God's help in medicine when it comes to uh, comfort. Now, when I talk about comfort, I'm not just talking about comfort to the sick person. I'm talking about comfort to the sick person and the people that are affected by his or her sickness. For example, a woman with five children, she suddenly falls sick. The children are also feeling the impact of her sickness because a vacuum has been created in her family. So God gives comfort not only to that particular person that is sick, but also to the people that are affected by that particular sickness. Now, another way we can see God's help in medicine is through strengthening, guidance, and directing the medical personnel. If you're a medical personnel, maybe med lab scientist, optometrist, dentist, medical doctor, you will understand that at a point, sometimes you are tired. You are tired. Maybe a particular case has been on your table for a long time, or maybe you are tired, or maybe that day you just don't feel yourself. So God bridges that gap. God comes in to strengthen the medical personnel. So we cannot, it's not you can we can't actually do without God, because this is an establishment that was dropped by God Himself. So uh, medical professions, they are not really professions, they are actually a calling, just like your pastors and your prophets. Now, what's the difference between treatment and divine healing? It's very important to understand that difference. Now, treatment focuses on the the particular symptom the person came with. For example, a patient walks into a clinic and complains that he cannot see at a particular distance. Now, treatment targets that particular problem, the reason why that patient came to the clinic. Maybe that patient might also have a twisted toe, but the reason the patient came to the clinic is not that twisted toe, is the eye problem. So the doctor tries to use medical knowledge to attack that eye problem. Now, at the end of the day, the patient is going home with probably maybe glasses or ointment or medication, but the twisted toe is still present. That's treatment. It focuses just on that particular problem. But in divine healing, when person encounters divine healing, what happens is that both the eye problem, both the twisted toe, if there's any problem in the person's life, maybe relationship problem, even financial problem, or any form of problem, they are being taken care of, because that is divine healing. Divine healing doesn't just focus on the particular problem itself, it focuses on the all roundness of that particular person. That is it. Now, let us take another instance. Another instance is treatment has time frame. Treatment has time frame. Now, the time the person comes to the clinic, the time the person comes to the clinic, the time the person gets his treatment, and the time the person is actually trying to get better, it takes time. But in divine healing, it doesn't take time. It can be instant, but in some certain cases, it can also take time if God wants to take time to heal you. So these are things to put into consideration. Now, another one is that treatment requires human effort. Now, why did I say so? I said so because treatment requires human effort. Human effort. Because when you are sick and you go to a hospital, you must make use of the effort of the medical practitioner and of the health assistants that are working there. But divine healing doesn't need any form of assistance, it can just happen just like that. Now, another point to understand is that man is not just a body. Man is a body, man is a mind, and man is a spirit. Now, treatment focuses only on the body of this particular subject, this particular man, while divine healing focuses on the body, on the mind, and in the spirit of this person. Let me give you an example. A footballer suddenly has a very devastating injury and maybe breaks his femur, and he goes out for injury for 8 months. So throughout this period, this player is going through pain to recover. Now, at the end of his treatment plan, he's back on the football pitch. But most of the times, we understand that this particular player is not as good as he was before that injury. So the body has been taken care of by medical sciences, but his mind is still shattered and his spirit is still broken. So treatment focuses on the body, where divine healing focuses on the body, the mind, and the spirit. Now, what caused it to be so? Let's take a little trip back to the 18th century. This century was it's called the century of enlightenment. Before this, before this 18th century, humanities and sciences were actually fused together. But in the 18th century, they were dissolved, they were divided. And you understand that humanities is what makes us human. That's humanities. And what is under humanities? We have science, we have arts, we have music, we have religion, and we have literature. But under sciences, we have physics, chemistry, biology. Now, sciences focuses more on facts and measurement, but humanities focuses more on what makes us human. But the modern day medicine was programmed under sciences, facts, and measurement. This is what where we have our pillars. Now, leaving out humanities. So you find out that what we do most times in medicine is actually based on sciences, leaving out what makes us human. That's why, as a medical professional, most times a patient comes into your clinic or to your hospital, you need to pay adequate attention because the patient is not just a body. The patient is a body, the patient is a mind, and the patient is a spirit. So most times, if you are not able to pay adequate attention to the complaint of that particular person, you might miss out where the problem is. Because most times the problem is not in the body of the patient. The problem is in the mind of that particular patient. And sometimes the problem is even in the spirit of that particular person. Now, most senior clinicians that have been practicing for long, they will tell you that if a patient comes to their clinic and maybe this patient maybe has maybe his mind is shattered, no amount of treatment plan will work on that particular person. And it's true because we are not just we are not objects, we are human beings, we are affected by a lot of things. Now, let's not go deep into psychology of human nature. No. Why I made this video is because some Christians believe that as Christians, we should not go to the hospital to take medication. Now, look, if you're a Christian, you need to understand that by going to the hospital and by taking your medication, it's actually showing that you have faith in God. Why? Is because the hospital and the medications were knowledge that was gotten from God. So these establishments were put by God and is still being monitored by God. That's why doctors are not just it's not just a profession, it's a calling. Now, let's go to the Bible. Remember what Paul told Timothy. He said, Timothy, go and take a little wine for your stomach, so it might aid your infirmities. In other, let's rephrase it. Timothy, go and take your drugs, so it can help your infirmities. So, if a powerful man like Paul can give advice to another powerful man like Timothy, it shows you that we as Christians, taking drugs is not wrong. You should take your drugs, but you can also, as you are taking your drug, you can also add prayers to facilitate your healing time. Now, remember, our brother Luke in the Bible was also a medical doctor. Yes, he was also a medical doctor. Even our role model, Jesus Christ, what did he say? He said that the hospital is not for the healthy people, but for the sick people. That, that particular statement shows us that once you are sick, go and meet your doctor, take your medications, then you can now attach it, prayers and supplications. So I just hope we've been able to throw a little bit of light to the relationship between God and man in medicine. See you next time. I just hope you've learned something. Be, be better.